Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Salam alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on from which time zone you are joining today. My name is Raj Hajaria, Technical Manager with the Gulf Downstream Association. It is a non-profit association recently founded by Saudi Aramco, ADNOC, KNPC, KPI, and BAPCO, with the sole purpose of facilitating sharing of knowledge and experience among downstream players. It is my honor today to moderate this panel on the great subject Go Green technologies in the context of project execution. Now, my friends, we all know this universe is made up of 5 basic elements. Earth, which represents all the elements of the periodic tables, water, fire, air, and space. Nature is constantly recycling and repurposing these elements into a variety of living and non-living entities. It is as if this whole gamut of living and non-living entities are part of a grand symphony which is being played by the nature, where every entity coexists with other entity and plays their designated role. Our ancestors, our forefathers knew this secret. They knew the value of this symphony and being in harmony with the nature. Unfortunately, of late, we humans fell out of this symphony. In our race to progress, we have exploited the resources of the nature indiscriminately. As a result, we are here where we are facing this challenge of global climate, global warming, and carbon emission rising above our target. We need to do something. We need to go back to the harmony and join this symphony of the nature. That is what I mean by going to green. We don't depend, nature does not depend on us. It is we who depend on the nature. Nature always have a reset button, and it can press that button to reset itself. As you might have noticed, a few days ago, just 3 days ago in US, there was a series of tornadoes which caused a huge devastation of human life and property. We don't want many of that. So the question is, what can we do in terms of executing our mega projects, which are the engines of our economic progress, which we cannot stop, so that we can go back to the harmony and symphony of this nature. It is my pleasure to welcome my panelists who are esteemed experts in these areas in their respective fields, to explore this question and ponder on this theme. I welcome my first speaker, my first panelist, Abdul Aziz Muhammad Al Makbel. He is the General Manager of Sustainability Department in the Royal Commission for Riyadh City, and also he is the Director of Green Riyadh Project. Our second panelist is Geoff Roberts. He is the Director of Industry Strategy and Innovation in Energy from Oracle. And he supports the innovation strategy of construction and engineering global business unit. Our third panelist is Walter Hugh, Vice President from Hyundai Electric and Energy Systems. And he is working on energy efficiency projects for industrial complexes. And he's also working on Korea's first net zero university campus project. and he is developing renewable energy plants such as PC, wind, fuel generation, fuel cell generation, etc. Mr. Abdul Aziz is joining us from Riyadh, Geoff is joining us from UK, and Walter is joining from Seoul, Korea. Welcome all of you. I hope you are all safe and healthy and fighting this current crisis bravely. Let me start with a common question. What do you mean by going to green? Very briefly, in one sentence, may I start with you, Abdul Aziz?
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to join today with this fantastic conference. And we have today Green Riyadh project, one of the mega projects under construction now in the city. I have a brief presentation. If you allow me, we can demonstrate that presentation.
Mr. Abdul Aziz, I just want to first find out from you, what do you mean by go green?
Okay, great. Good question. Actually, Riyadh City, we have limited number of trees, which is around 1.5% compared to the Riyadh City area. And we would like to plant more than 7.5 trees in the urban area, which is give canopy and help a lot of associated environment and associated issue in Riyadh. And this will transform the city to one of the livable city in Riyadh, inshallah.
So plantation of more trees is what you mean by going to green. Geoff, what do you think is going to green means to you?
From my perspective, being involved in projects for as long as I've been around, it's about actually ensuring that there is a true life cycle of products and that actually they don't impact nature. If we think about the OPEX world, that will, people design things, that's what they do. But in terms of our delivery from projects, we should always think about how things can end up as a repurpose or recycle, something that we've forgotten about.
Right, we will dwell on that in a moment.
Yeah.
May I hear your views on going to green?
Yeah, for our side, the go to green means renewable energy 100 to reach the net zero.
Excellent, and we'll dwell on that also in a moment. Let me come to you, Mr. Abdul Aziz. You mentioned about Green Riyadh project. Can you give us very briefly a highlight of this project? What are you targeting to achieve? You said about plantation. Is that all?
Okay, great, good question. Actually, this project, the ultimate goal to implement the tree is 7.5 in the city. However, there are a lot of work required to set up in the city. For instance, we're going to build one of the huge system TEC network, treated water in the city, which is more than 533 kilometers all around all the city. This is one of the new systems. Also, we are working now to build one of the big nursery. We call it Center of Excellence because it's obtained, let's say, seed bank, it's obtained research center, it's obtained also the nursery. They're going to promote and generate the trees from the nursery. All that to provide all the project. In Riyadh, we talk about more than 45 big city park around the city. We talk about 3,300 neighborhood park. We talk about 10,000 kilometers linear of road in the city will be planting. So actually it is landscape design and implementing, and after that operation.
Excellent. So it's perfect way of joining the symphony of the nature, bringing the greenery, bringing the water, developing the city into an oasis. Walter, you talked about renewable energy 100. What is it? Can you give us some idea about it?
Okay, the Renewable Energy 100 is the global initiative bring together the world's most influential businesses committed to 100% renewable energy electricity.
Right. And
yeah,
go ahead.
the member companies switch their energy consumptions only from renewable energy, such as solar, wind, and bioenergy.
Very true. Good. So Korea, South Korea, and especially your company Hyundai is committed to achieving these targets?
Yeah, our government and also individual companies are also try to reach that target.
And what is the deadline kind of you have set yourself?
So that is really depends on each company's situation. But our government announced till 2040s, they will reach some certain amount of target, and finally 2050s, they will reach all the net zero.
Great. I think this will be a music in the ears of COP26 people. Geoff, let me come back to you. You talked about project delivery. How can project delivery be improved to meet these challenges?
I think what we've got over the last 10, 15 years is this comprehension that ESG, environmental sustainability and governance, was something from a organization level. However, it's the projects that deliver this. So now we're seeing it being tasked to the project team. So the project delivery teams now have these requirements, and there needs to be technology to support the projects now delivering these. And there are a range of products out there and technologies that will actually allow project managers, project control specialists to actually capture and report full life cycle understanding of materials, repurpose, recycle, understanding that full design package, but actually being able to manage things like waste, carbon at the project level, so that these can be captured and reported upwards to the overall organization. So I think it's important that actually we think about helping our project delivery colleagues with technologies, and obviously that's where we feature, to support them to actually deliver these metrics and control the supply chain as we move forward.
So are you proposing any framework to manage this kind of transition?
There's a range of partners that we work with to provide things like waste management, overall supply chain governance, the whole concept of material life cycle from actually its inception right the way through to recycle, repurpose, etc. And obviously core technology from our perspective, tools like blockchain that allow that provenance to exist across its life, rather than actually somebody just saying they've done something.
So it will be evidence-based.
Evidence, but absolutely, the world is moving to evidence-based, Raj. Now we're not thinking about just saying that we have done something or achieved something. The world is looking for evidence, and that's right down at the project level.
Excellent, excellent. Abdul Aziz, can we talk about other mega projects in the Saudi Arabia? What measures is Saudi Arabia taking to comply with the nature's protection and also reduce the emissions?
There are a lot of mega projects surrounding Riyadh and in the kingdom. And we saw in SGI, Saudi Green initiatives has been announced 10 billion trees will be planting in all the kingdom. And I think more than 400 million trees already committed to be planting in all the kingdom. And we can see some of the projects on the ground now. And this is one of the, let's say, big transformer, inshallah, toward to the sustainability for good quality life, for sustainable and environment.
Right. So you have a robust policies and procedures for the projects to comply with?
Yes, that's true. And in reality, we have, let's say, a system or a BIMS system that monitor and allow us to manage all the part of the, let's say, the component of the work.
Right.
For instance, more than 35,000 of data for each part, for each element, for each, let's say, component in the city has been input as a database for BIMS system.
Okay, great. Walter, what sort of technologies are you going to employ in achieving your RE100 targets in different mega projects?
Yeah. In terms of renewable energy installation, we have our own and peculiar situation in Korea. More than 70% of mountainous areas comprised Korea. So, not much of availability of land is allowed for this use of installations, especially for solar farms. And in Korea, we have many well-developed industrial complexes with many factories. This situation put much constraints, but also advantage to us. When we approach methods to reach RE100, we take the following strategy and steps. First, we analyze and try to sort out every areas of possible cutoff and improvement. For this approach, we are building energy centers, have online connectivity with these factories. And second, by analyzing and accumulating data from various areas factories, we advise and implement a solution. And lastly, after this trial, if we reach our planned target, and still if we have left over to take out, we advise to and install the renewable energy solutions for further improvement. That is the steps and strategy.
So reduce the first step, improve the efficiency, the second stage, and
yes, correct.
the renewable sources, the third stage.
Yes, correct.
Great. Let me come back to you, Geoff. How do you think supply chain governance is critical to the sustainability on mega projects?
Okay, so building on the evidence base that we just addressed, it's important that we actually provide comprehensive platforms that allow the full supply chain. And I don't just mean the tier ones, I mean where they acquire their product from and where they acquire their product from, so that there is an actual true workflow approach to actually capturing these metrics around ESG. And they can be, as we discussed, evidence-based at all levels. So we think about something as simple as the manufacture of a vessel. That starts at actually the mining of the iron ore. Actually, from there, we need to think about that governance right the way through, and really the evidence around that iron ore as it translates into where it was manufactured into core, pig iron, and then into actually rolled iron, finally to the fabrication yards. Through each one of those stages, we need to understand the overall ESG of that organization and what is involved in that particular component. Without a platform, you can't achieve that. Without comprehensive workflows, you can't achieve that. So it's the ability to provide that level of technology that we can support the project delivery teams with now. And that is key. It's fine saying, go do this, but without providing the tools that allow project managers and project controllers to actually control their own destiny, if you like, and provide this information to the organizations, it's hard. So we have to have and enable our teams to do that.
Do you think blockchain technology can help in this tracking?
I think blockchain is going to be key to this, in the fact that it actually is that de facto standard that allows both parties to agree to a common event, which is unchangeable. And I think that's the important thing. The key to blockchain is that both parties agree at a point in time, and then it's never changed.
So I think we are coming to a close of our session very soon. And I would like to give 1 minute to each one of you to sum up your idea and thoughts, and what word would you like our audience to reflect upon? What ideas, what thoughts in terms of project execution go green? Let me start with you, Abdul Aziz.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. Actually, one of the important points for us is the water and the availability to survive the freeze and the recycle of the water. And this is part of, let's say, increase the efficiency of the source of the city to be 100%.
Excellent, excellent. Walter?
Yes, yeah, as to go green, for the individual try and the move of company and parties also have much meaning in approaching Renewable Energy 100. But more than that, if we can get cheap support from governmental side, I think we can activate potential and possible source of Renewable Energy 100 applicable companies and make them move faster.
Right. And Geoff?
Yeah, I think from what we've seen from the recent, conference, the UN conference, COP26, there was very much a focus on the full life cycle. So, the ability to reuse, recycle, repurpose are key components. And really, we as a project delivery organization, and I include myself in that, we have to take account of that in delivering capital projects. As I said before, organizations will design processes. That's what they do. That's up to them. But actually, in us turning those into reality, we have now, and if you think about the numbers in the trillions on capital projects that are being spent, we as a group here and with the wider project management, project controls, design organizations, we now have a need to actually focus on those key aspects and actually think about the full life cycle. And I don't mean just till it's retired. I mean until it's actually repurposed, recycled back to some native product. And we have to think about the material at that point in time. And we have to manage and provide tools that allow projects to do that right the way through the life cycle.
Excellent. And I was just reflecting on what you were saying, Geoff, and a thought came to me. We always conduct environmental impact assessment analysis at the start of a project. Any mega project starts with that. Yep. At the feed stage, at the concept stage, design stage. Now, how can we improve upon that in my opinion, if we have stronger criteria for assessment, where we can capture the concept of reduce, reuse, recycle, and repurpose, all of these are
Absolutely.
factored into the environmental impact assessment study. And also,
And we should also benchmark those. So it's fine doing those analysis, as you just said, at the key stage gates, but
yeah,
it's actually then, did we achieve it?
did we achieve it?
Yeah.
And so a constant monitoring of it, and
Absolutely.
independent monitoring, because we need a governance which is completely independent and not biased by either the investor or the end users.
Correct. Absolutely agree.
So this is one of the my major focus always. Yes, you make policy, you make procedures, and you make all the framework, but are people following it on the ground level? And as all of you have mentioned very eloquently, that simply laying the document in the file is not enough. We need to take actions on the ground. We need to show evidence, and we need to demonstrate that we are achieving our target. And I wish this RE100 concept is adopted more and more by more companies. And I would even say, go ahead and say that people should volunteer. People should volunteer to take this and try to show. Maybe we should have some kind of a competition, global competitions, some kind of a hackathon where people can be invited and they could be recognized, whoever has achieved these targets. I think we need to make it into a movement, a mass movement. We cannot leave it to the government or to some project executioner. We need to make it a mass movement. And I think the end user should start demanding, as Geoff, you said, you need to track from the iron ore mining, from where the iron ore is extracted, how much carbon is emitted from that point onwards, need to be tracked, need to be managed. And you cannot simply say it is a green. You need to show the evidence, how green it is. How green is it? Is it yellow, purple, dark, brown, black? You will find out the truth. So that's one of the very good takeaway from this discussion. And also, I would like to mention this thing, that we always execute project to add value to the business. We always talk about what value this project has added. Can we also start talking what value this project has added to the nature? Can we put that as also our KPI and goal in every project, that project must add certain value to the nature? I remember going long time back into a facility process plant, and I was amazed the amount of greenery they had created there, and the quality of air, I was amazed, was much more better than outside the plant. And this is the kind of goal we need to set in our mega projects. And I believe we need to maintain an attitude of gratitude while we are executing our economic progress through these mega projects. Because without the attitude of gratitude, we will not survive, and nature will reset its button, and we don't want that. We want the nature. Nature doesn't want us. We want the nature, and we need to respect. So with those words, thank you very much, Abdul Aziz, Walter, Geoff, and I enjoyed discussing with you, and great sharing of these experiences and ideas. And I hope our audience have also benefited from it and taken some good tips out of this session. So thank you very much, and all the best, and have a great day ahead.